Center for Europe at the University of Warsaw and the Faculty of Political Science and International Studies of the University of Warsaw organized the International Scientific Conference titled Poland and the Balkan States Together in Europe at the end of 2024. The conference was held in the Kolomut Hall at the Faculty of History of the University of Warsaw in Poland.
My name is Kamil Tahirovic. I am Director of the Center for Europe of the University of Warsaw. And welcome all of you on the international conference. The title of this conference is Poland and Balkan States Together in Europe. The conference is organized by Center for Europe, University of Warsaw and Faculty of Political Science and International Studies, University of Warsaw, in cooperation with our colleagues, friends, with several Balkan states from Serbia, North Macedonia, Montenegro and Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Among the many interesting papers presented by invited speakers, one of the topics was the speeches of Professor Dusan Proroković from the Institute of the International Politics and Economics at the University of Belgrade, Serbia, and the presentation of Professor Mehmedin Tahirovic from the University Donja Gorica in Podgorica, Montenegro. During the subsequent discussion, the professors presented their thought on Chinese and Russian influence in the Western Balkans, presenting two different points of view on this issue. We encourage you to watch the report from this part of the conference.
As first speaker, I will invite Professor Dusan Proroković from the Institute of International Politics and Economics with his presentation on the title Ontological Security as a Factor in Balkan Geopolitics. Professor Proroković, the floor is yours.
My question is why is ontology important? Why is ontological security important? I will start with the title of this conference, Poland and the Balkan States Together in Europe. What does it mean? Poland and the Balkans are in Europe, that is a fact. We are in Europe together, right? We are not in Asia. I'm a Serb. We have been connected with the Poles by some political processes since the 19th century. We are also connected by individuals like Adam Czartoryski, for example. We have shared the same fate for 200 years. After all, we are Slavic peoples, culturally close. To a certain extent, it's for me abnormal that at a scientific conference we speak to each other in English. Why then emphasize something that is a fact as the title of a scientific conference? The title of the conference is like this because the Balkans are not perceived as Europe, and they are not perceived as Europe because they are not fully integrated into the European Union. In the political West, collective West, an equal sign is placed between the terms Europe and the European Union. That is why European values are what define the European Union. We are actually Europeans to the extent that we inherit the ideological, political, legal and other patterns of the European Union. From an ontological point of view, this is simply not true. Europe is a much broader concept than the European Union in a historical, geographical, political, cultural, military, strategic sense. If we want to understand what is happening in Europe today, then we cannot analyze processes and events only through methodologies and theories that, conditionally speaking, determine the EU approach for us. In the Balkans, this problem is somewhat greater than, for example, in Central Europe. You see, today there is already a lot of talk about penetration of Chinese influence in the Balkans. how bad it is. The EU finances several projects through which Chinese activities are monitored. There is no need to elaborate on the thesis of malignant Russian influence. More or less everything is known about it, and my colleagues spoke about it at the first panel. However, despite everything, Russian influence in the Balkans has been maintained, and Chinese influence is still growing. Maybe slower than before, but it is growing. It is customary to say that Russian influence is due to propaganda, fake news, as we heard, and Chinese influence is due to corruption. That is a satisfactory answer that explains everything. However, that is an incorrect answer. The EU has the strongest propaganda tools. In the Balkans, there are only 2 Russian internet portals, registered in Serbia. And not hundreds, but thousands of medias, portals, televisions, magazines, newspapers, NGO agencies, and so on, financed by European Union and the US. So I think that it is not a problem with Russian propaganda. It is a problem now with the capability of European Union and United States to explain something in our problem, in our region. And because of that, problem is on ontology. The EU has the strongest propaganda tools, and next to them is the USA, of course. Essentially, the most corruption is precisely in all those matters related to the financing and lending of various projects, from infrastructure to non-governmental organizations. And here again, the EU is the most active player. The Chinese are far behind, both in the number of projects and in the volume of funds they bring. Of course, now you will all answer me that here everything is in EU activities regarding lending and financing legal, which is true. Yes, everything is designed to be legal, but for ontological security, the more important question is how legitimate is it? The influence of non-Western actors in the Balkans, despite the fact that the Balkan states are in the process of European integration, is growing precisely because many things that the EU does are perceived as illegitimate. Even these methodological and theoretical frameworks are perceived as illegitimate. Excuse me, but if the Balkans are not recognized as Europe because they are not in the EU, then the question arises, and where are the Balkans? In Eurasia, in the Middle East? Some British colleagues categorize Balkans in the Eastern Mediterranean. To put it most illustratively, my impression is that the EU has not known what to do with the Balkans for a long time, that it regrets having admitted Bulgaria and Romania to membership, and then it is angry because support for the political West and Western international organizations is weakening in the Balkans. Ontology is a matter of perception, contextualization, legitimization. Ontological security is one of the foundations of Balkan geopolitics. Formal structures can serve to temporarily maintain the current order established at a given past moment thanks to the distribution of power between interested great or regional powers and local actors, but historical experience shows to us that this does not last for long. The geopolitical goals that are defined by disaffected through aspirations to create a new order are often prepared beyond formal structures and are based on the spread of perceptions about group security, collective security that become part of the collective identity. Perceptions of security and experiences of the common destiny of a nation are influenced by the uniqueness of the Balkan geopolitical space, which is determined by the continuous interest of great and regional powers in this geographical space. Those actors are Russia, Germany, Great Britain, USA, Turkey, France, previously Austria-Hungary, and in the last decade and a half, China. The conflict of the geopolitical goals of external actors, which are today primarily Western and non-Western actors, which is observed in international relations, directly reflects on the regional security of the Balkans, as it automatically causes new re-examination of the current order. Even if the formal structures are guided by different strategies, the arising of questions becomes inevitable because it is induced by reasons of an ontological character. Because of this, disputes between the Balkan nations, whose states are members of the EU and NATO, also persist. For example, dispute between Bulgaria and North Macedonia. And it is not only dispute. Experiences of shared fate and the perceptions of challenges, risks, and threats persist despite formal policies, even in the face of the benefits that come from such formal policies. The outcome of all this is that Balkanization continues. Unfortunately, but the process of Balkanization continues. In certain historical periods, it has manifested itself in different ways, but it has not disappeared. For these reasons, when discussing the situation in the Balkans, it is necessary to pay special attention to the concept of ontological security. Insisting exclusively on analysis and comparisons of indicators concerning formal structures is simply not enough. Balkan geopolitics is also shaped by ontology. At the same time, in the search for long-term solutions, it should be borne in mind that formal structures can affect the concept of ontological security and contribute to the reduction of the conflict potential. For such a thing, it is necessary that there is a minimum agreement of external actors on the regulation of the regional order, which would be based on clear principles and rules. And the European Union is certainly not the only external actor of Balkan security. Unfortunately or not, it is the European Union that missed a great opportunity to quickly, efficiently, and simply integrate the entire Balkans, to establish rules and principles for maintaining regional security and ensuring the legitimacy of its policy. This would have effectively influenced ontological security. However, looking from today's perspective, the last moment to do so was the end of the first decade of the new century. The moment was missed, and thanks to catastrophically wrong strategic decisions, from the one in Kosovo in 2008 to the referendum in Macedonia in 2018, the perception of the European Union has been changing rapidly. So we are where we are today with an open question of ontological security that affects both regional relations and, in a broader context, continental security. At the very end, I need to put one remark. I am a researcher of Institute of International Politics and Economics. It's a state institute funded by the Ministry of Science of the Republic of Serbia and partially funded by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Serbia. So we have clear instruction from both ministries if we are attending at the conference with.
Thank you very much, dear Professor Proroković, for your excellent presentation. The next speaker is my dear Professor Mehmedin Tahirovic from University of Donja Gorica, Podgorica, Montenegro. He will speak today on the following. The main security challenges and threats in the Western Balkans and possible model for solving them in the process of European integration. We have requested very contemporary issue, so we will patiently listen to those.
Professor Proroković told about the colony, about the problems of the Western Balkans. I will try to be more concrete Please, before starting my presentation, I would like to mention that every fact what I put in my presentation is on a basis of the research and very relevant this magazines, document and source. First of all, my presentation divided on two parts. One is the problems of the Western Balkans. What I evidenced during this research is, I think, the biggest here article in this journal. And the second one is how to solve the problems of the Western Balkans. My colleague Goran said, mention 15 minutes, I said no, 20 because we late time. Yes. I ask you. The main security challenges and threats in Western Balkan, unfortunately after the crash down, breakdown of the former Yugoslavia, we didn't realize the process of reconciliation on a good way. And it was, from my point of view, unsuccessful process of reconciliation. Despite everything, the Western Balkan is still a very unstable area. 20 years ago, no 20, it was 32 years ago, I was the last negotiation in Bosnia and Herzegovina in the front of the General Staff of Yugoslavia. Unfortunately, I have practical experience of that time. The second question now is improving the problems on the Western Balkans according to the aggression of Russia to the Ukraine, because it is directly originally European problems. And the reflections also have very big influence on the Western Balkans. As reason for the war situation, traditional neutral states, Sweden and Finland, when I was as a first national military representative to NATO in Mons, in Shade, the first neighbors of that time was representatives from Finland and Sweden, and they prepared for fulfilled membership in NATO. And you can see when it was. Now we have 32 members in NATO. The good research for situation after the aggression Russia, Ukraine, is research Ivan Kraster and Director Mark Leonard of the Center of Library Strategies in Sofia, Bulgaria, in late February this year. And on this graphic you can see the opinion of Europeans. The shallow Ukraine and Russia reaching a compromise settlement is the must probably be situation according to this research. But however, the majority of Europeans are not inclined to compromise. The research map of public opinion demonstrates that Ukraine war is of paramount paramount importance to Europe, while other conflicts may be equally significant of global scale. In this research, this article, I didn't include one more research after the winning Trump to the United States. You know the reactions majority European leaders about that, and of course the official policy in the European Union. Moreover, many European citizens view the Ukrainian conflict is European. Key external and internal challenges and threats for the Western Balkans. It is weak governance, fragile civil society, and geopolitical disputes. We know that all the Balkan states have the specific problems and the specific view, but we have many common problems, and unfortunately we are not capable yet to solve them alone, unfortunately. These factors make the highly susceptible to both local and external disinformation campaign. What about all my colleague Dusan? Disinformation campaign is very intensive of the beginning of aggression Russia to the Ukraine of 2014. Its aim undermined the perception of EU and US values and abstract of ambition of regional states on their path toward European and transatlantic integration. It is not a strategic communication Center of Excellence 2024. China is significant global partner of Serbia. The free trade agreement signed in October 2023 is a privilege not shared by the EU, the US, or Russia. It is only Serbia in Europe has this agreement with China. You could see probably when was visit of Xi Jinping Serbia 7th and 8th May, that it was anniversary on the NATO bombing to the Chinese embassy in Belgrade of 7th May, indirectly signals strategic partnership between the two countries in relation to the West. Furthermore, during the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, 6 China's U-20 military aircraft landed in Belgrade on 11 April 2022, delivering China's VK-3 anti-aircraft missile systems. Also, the Associated Press reported that the missile system were delivered secretly, raising concerns about the arms accumulation in the Western Balkans during the Ukrainian war. Serbia is now the first European country to possess such Chinese missiles. According to the study, Enlargement of the Future of Europe, Vibes from the Capital, which was supported by the European Commission. Please, I recommended this book, all of you, at the cost of only 13 euros by internet, and it is studied very good for students and for the scientifics. The report from the National Security Institute, Washington, which analyzed 9 countries, including Serbia, Montenegro, North Macedonian, Bosnia and Herzegovina, China and Russia exploit deep division within the population and media to promote their agreements. They disseminate misinformation through ethnically divided media outlets and use propaganda spread by pro-Serbian, pro-Russian, pro-government media to highlight to the Chinese-Russia alliance as a superior alternative to the liberal world order. It is normal conclusion because theory is from Washington. The next problem common is identity polarization. Next is the strong influence of religious communities on the government and political parties, disagreed for constitutions and law enforcement by political parties. In my state, the deal between political parties is more strong than constitution. They don't worry a lot about the constitution. It's important to make a good deal. It's trade. It's not political activities, it's trade in political way. High political interference in security sector. In Montenegro and the others, you know that in Albania, you have two former chief of general staff. One is the president of Albania, the second one is the chief of parliamentarians party, Edi Rama, in parliament of in Albania. A very low rule of law for all characterize all of Balkan states, a significant involvement of policy and security intelligence service, organized crime, particularly in cigarette, drugs, smuggling, where the Western Balkans ranks among highest in the Europe. Unfortunately, it's true. Insufficient institutional development, functionality and cooperation in all security structures of the regional states. Against hybrid actions, it's not common activity. Limited crisis management systems, response capabilities. You know, after the flow in Bosnia and Herzegovina, it's needed for reaction. The crisis management institution in Bosnia and Herzegovina 3 days. For the neighbors, 5 days. It is not according to the mechanism of European Union for the crisis situation. We need to criticize ourselves first of all, and after that, the European Union and NATO. But I criticize them also. Low levels of open and honest communication. No, unfortunately, we cannot communicate between each other without somebody from abroad. We are communicate over European Union, over representative of NATO, over the United States, not directly. It's the bad for us. These concerns over you highlight the most significant internal security challenges. External is, my key question is, why aren't NATO and EU and US action preventing in the Western Balkans? You know that the NATO new strategic concept and declaration NATO from summit in Madrid and from summit in Washington, the last one, they said that equivalent, the most dangerous regions are Black Sea region and the Western Balkans. But behavior to both organizations, NATO and EU, not in the same way on those regions. It is not good. Financial Times reported 20th of June this year that Serbia has indirectly exported munition more 800 million euros to the Ukraine. The president of Serbia, Vučić, confirmed it for the interview of Financial Times, and he said it's not directly export. It is our economic interest, but we sell so big. The company from the United States, the company from Czech Republic, and from Portugal. It is strange for me. In the same time, you have the situation that Serbia not recognize and not implement the sanction of European Union toward Russia. Something is wrong. Why is a question? Why NATO and EU behavior toward Serbia this way? My opinion is that it's very dangerous for NATO and EU if Serbia go to the side of Russia. In this case, it will be war on the Western Balkans. And I think that President Vučić is very good at because his behavior is, on this moment, in this crisis, similar Tito during the 1948 years between East and West. And he is using it. Why not? I will be saying, if we have the opportunity. Where is the spring? If we have covered all east part of Europe, Baltic states, the Black Sea region with forces of NATO, we form Cypriot, the Macedonians, now the west border, because the staff, the vice of chief of staff is from North Macedonia, and you can see Albania also. But in the same time, you can see that in Southeast Europe brigade, which needed to have 5,000 members, soldiers, has only 35 people in the staff. And, of course, it is a little bit of a problem. The budget of the Southeast Europe Brigade is for smiling. Only last year was 385, this year is 275,000. And if we are watching the decisions from, as I mentioned, the declaration, we can see here that on the eastern flank we have all forces, more than 200,000 NATO soldiers. It's not same reaction. Whoever Western Balkans considered a vulnerable area influenced by Russia and marked by nationalism and tensions among states, there are the limited forces of four in Kosovo and for in Bosnia and Herzegovina. We know the experience of the Netherlands battalion in Srebrenica, 1995. What to speak about that more? My opinion or conclusion during this research, that based on this analysis, the author of this text lacks any tangible evidence of secret plan between Serbia, Albania, and Croatia, and any major powers of the EU regarding of potential reconfigurations of map in the Western Balkans. Nevertheless, the passive stance of the EU and NATO and US raises suspicion that an ongoing creeping political security process, you know what this means, in the Western Balkans may lead to inevitable change in potential disadvantaging Bosnia and Herzegovina, Montenegro and North Macedonia. As a confirmation of the author's plan is why did Croatia oppose Austria's proposal? No Austria, no ambassador, unfortunately now here, but I will ask him that he is here. Austria proposed in EU that Montenegro receive 45 million euros for the establishing of a regional college for the security and defense of the Western Balkans. But Croatia was opposite. Why? It's a new way of relation between Montenegro and Croatia after accepting the declaration in Montenegrin parliament about the genocide in Jasenovac and Mauthausen. And it is this reaction. I wrote one article for Montenegrin Academy for Art and Science about Article 35, what will be between Croatia and Montenegro during the process of European integration, using the experience between Croatia and Slovenia. They made arrangement which is not respect nobody to this moment. It will be very, very difficult to solve. The Berlin process, I will finish for a couple of minutes, is model for addressing traditional Balkans disputes in the successful European integration in the region. I also wrote one article about the Open Balkans and published it in Belgrade, in Institute for Strategic Studies. And I know that it was only for one period, using Edi Rama and Vučić to make a pressure on European Union. The people, Professor Mehmedin probably knows for that, they made research about the Open Balkan, how to include. This is a part of Berlin process, but European Union not accepted it. The key function of Berlin process have in mind the 42 initiatives. Also, I made this article of regional institutions for my faculty 10 years ago. Only Berlin process directly oriented on the 6 states in the Western Balkans. For all other initiatives, the states needed to pay participation. For Berlin process, no. It opposite. They are giving the money. It is the main differences, but many of those decisions is very, very important. The Berlin process allocated substantial financial support, specifically a total 6 billion, 2 billion in grants and 4 billion in loans. is planned for the period from 2004 to 2007. This represents a substantial increase over 40% in funding for the Western Balkan compared to previous allocation, including Turkey. During the EU Western Balkan Summit in Brussels, December 13, 2023, a joint declaration was adopted highlighting the increasingly complex geopolitical environment dominated by Russia's aggressive war against Ukraine and crisis in the Middle East. Please follow the main common trends. The common threads, what bring the declarations of Western Balkan and European Union is 35 key objectives and obligations for the Western Balkan. But according to the security challenges, I will here speak only mention 13 of those 35. Anti-corruption and organized crime. It is together activities for all of 6 states in the Western Balkan. Alignment with common foreign and security policy. Unfortunately, you know that Serbia don't implement this goal yet, and it is one of the obstacles for going on in this area together. Inclusive regional cooperation and good neighboring relations, ministerial forums, operational security cooperation, hybrid and cyber threats, countering disinformation and foreign interference. It needed to be together, but in real situation, it's not. Cyber security collaboration, my colleague Alma told that Montenegro had the biggest attack from Russia in 2022. And 1 year, I cannot find 3 my articles, but I put on the public administration authorities because they disappeared after this. Now, European Union opened the cyber center in Montenegro. I hope that it will be something successful. Migration management, according to the EU's action plan, visa-free travel for all Western Balkan states, counter-terrorism and extremism, armed controls. I need to mention that the Western Balkan partners' commitment to reducing the illicit trade and proliferation and small arms light weapons is commendable. High levels of cooperation in combating crime trafficking within the impact framework are crucial. The extended plan beyond 2024 serves an international recognized example, successful regional collaboration. You know that Serbia and Montenegro has the biggest number of light weapons in the hand of the citizens on the Europe and in the world after United States. It is the conclusion, the last report of European Union. And on the end, it is 13 points of the 35 what this declaration brings from Brussels. Instead of a conclusion, who does not want to implementation of the Berlin process in the Western Balkan? It's a key question.
Dragan Dacic, Faculty of Law, University of Kragujevac. Well, in the context of what we have heard from distinguished Professor Thomas, the latest speaker, it is hard to argue or dispute that Ukraine has right to self-determine itself and join NATO. So in that context, I would like distinguished Professor Mehmedin to briefly explain what he meant when he said that if Serbia decides to opt for different integration than NATO or even EU, it would cause war in Western Balkans. I have observed it from the perspective of self-determination, similarly like it was advocated for Ukraine. Thank you.
As you know, Serbia only is one state of our region that is at the same time candidate for European Union and that opened the negotiation process with European Union. And in this book, a view from the capital, the conclusion is that Serbia is only formally the candidate for European Union, that its public support is very low for going Serbia to the European Union. And that is on the lowest level now, in this moment, on the beginning of negotiation process. The second term is relations Serbia with China and Russia. The reflections of the security of the Western Balkans is going on from China and Russia over Serbia. Serbia is the main player, the biggest state in our region, and this politics of the authority of Serbia in this moment making the conditions for the influence of Russian propaganda to the Western Balkan, to stop the Balkan states to go to the faster to go to the European Union and to be fulfilled members, because it is satisfies for Serbian politics in this moment, but not for the others, fortunately. And this type of politics has the influence in Montenegro. According to the deviation of the society in Montenegro, we have now, unfortunately, absolutely a political and social type of deviation society in Montenegro, pro-West and pro-East. It is directly influenced from Serbia. And of course, to be more concrete, Serbian Orthodox Church. You know that by influence of Serbian Orthodox Church, 30 years authority in Montenegro changed. It was directly influenced, and I hope that we are agreeing about this situation.
I have objection. I not agree. I full not agree. First of all, I need to answer to Professor Adamczyk. You mentioned that China and Russia are interfered in the destabilization of the Balkans. It's not true. Simply, it's not true. They are interested in the stabilization of the Balkans. So Russia established South Stream. No, it's now called Turkish Stream. It's a huge strategical project. Signed agreement about new nuclear electric plant in Bulgaria. Signed agreement about development of railways in Serbia from Budapest to Belgrade. It's also Chinese-Russian project, joint project. China invested more than $20 billion in the Balkans, only 14 billion in Serbia. So destabilization is simply not a case for them. They want stabilization. It's paradoxically, but before February 222, please find me one statement of any Russian ambassador against European Union. is no. European Union was an option for Russia and China. Yes, they are entering the European Union economically and energetically through the Bulgaria and Serbia and Hungary, but I think it's legitimate. But they were not, Russia and China, against European Union. Yes, there are many statements against NATO, but NATO is another thing. Simply, they were not. They were not against European Union. Many things changed since 2022, and we are where we are today, unfortunately. Second thing, it is not a problem in Serbia. It is not a problem in Vučić. We are sovereign state. We are sovereign country. We are looking for the modernization. We are looking for the new investments. Building roads, taking credits. Where is the problem? The main problem, ontologically speaking, is in the deficit of democracy. Montenegro is in NATO. How many Montenegrin citizens are in favor of NATO? Not more than 40%. Is it democracy? Milo Đukanović, former president of Montenegro, told a couple of months ago, I entered Montenegro into NATO, I recognize Kosovo, despite that fact that majority of the citizens of Montenegro were against that, which is a deficit of democracy. What's going on in Macedonia in 2018? 80% of ethnic Macedonians were against the change of the name of the state. More than 80%. Angela Merkel answered, it is not legitimate decision, it is legal. We do not need a census for the changing of the name of the state. It is a root of the destabilization of Macedonia. I don't want to talk about Kosovo and that rubbish and that what's happening in 2018. So European Union made strategic mistakes, and we are now living in the framework of their mistakes. Yeah?
Dear colleague, I had the opportunity to use the article. If you have the situation that 3 months ago you had in Belgrade, on the invitation of the President of Serbia, all Serbs from the region on the summit, and to have the Serbian vote in the region. The fact in his press release last year, he said that Serbian government will protect all Serbians in the world. Just a moment, please. Just a moment. Why only invited people from the region? You have in the Toronto in Canada, how many thousands population there? 700,000. Yes, please, you can check on the internet. And Chicago and Boston. Also, you have there in United States, not Serbian Orthodox Church, then Orthodox Church in United States. But in Montenegro, you have no Orthodox Church, then Serbian Orthodox Church. It is different. It is directly influenced on Montenegro population, especially Serbs in Montenegro. The second thing, please, you have the facts that Serbia in the last 5 years financing in the defense sector 40% more than the previous time. Why? Why? The crucial question is why? Who will be the enemy in the region for the Serbia? Serbia don't think to have a war with NATO. Who is the enemy here? At the same time, you have the increasing financing expenditure in Croatia. Croatia following the Serbia reaction. The biggest financial budget for the defense sector in Croatia is the last year and this year. Why? It's again the question, who is the enemy? Bosnia and Herzegovina? Montenegro? No. Not Macedonia, no. Why? A lot of weapons and equipments in the last years. It is the reason that I think that they have directly relations with the influence of Russia on our people. And of course, you said that is useful and stabilization for Serbia, investments for China. I agree. But at the same time, Serbia strategically oriented toward European Union. It's not possible if China, the European Union decision of the European Commission is very clear that will be sanctioned for the states who are candidates and not follow common security and foreign policy. Where are the sanctions? No sanction.
Thank you very much.